Good morning, students. So we are solving relative version of PPP related problems. So like yesterday's problem, there is a little twist in today's problem. Say Mr. Roshan wants to identify the equilibrium rates. Yesterday we have solved what is equilibrium. For the currency rates obtained by him, if the inflation for 6 months is 8% in India and 11% in Canada. Since the one currency is INR, so it is implied that India is the home country here. So if bank offers the following rates, what would you suggest him if he wishes to make an arbitrage gain? So in next few classes we will discuss about this topic in detail, arbitrage, right? So arbitrage is buying in one market and selling in another market. Usually buying a currency or buying a commodity for lower rate in one market and selling the same commodity or same currency in another market for higher rate. That's how we make arbitrage gain, right? So arbitrage, buying in one market, selling in another market. That you need to remember that thing. So the given quotation, two-way quotation, it is rupees per Canadian dollar. 1 Canadian dollar is equals to rupees 56.235 is the bid price and 56.475 is the ask price. So 6 month swap is given by a certain bank. So they are asking find out the equilibrium between market rate and bank rate. To calculate bank rate, we have to have swap points. So 6 month swap point is given, it is 135 oblique 120. Fine. So we need to calculate both bank rate and market rate. So to calculate market rate, if expected market rate, to calculate market rate, we need a help of relative version of PPP. So PPP says P1 is equals to P0 multiplied by 1 plus IH divided by 1 plus IF, right? So IH, inflation in home country, that is the inflation in India, and inflation in IF is inflation in foreign country, that is in Canada, 11%. So P1, and first we need to calculate bid price because both the bid and ask is given in the two-way quotation. So the spot rate given in the problem is 56.235 is the P0, right? P0 spot rate or the current market prevailing market rate. It is 56.235 rupees per Canadian dollar. So P0 is 56.235. That should be multiplied by 1 plus inflation in India is 8%. So it is 0.08 divided by inflation in Canada is 11%, 0.11. So the P1, that is the bid price, is equals to 54 point, it is rupees 54.7151. Okay, since the spot rate is given, the pips given in the spot rate is only 3 digits, we are considering 3 digits in our answer. So bid price for P1 is 54.715 after adjusting the inflation rate in both Canada and India. So P2, you can say P2 is the ask price, you can define yourself P2 ask price. So spot rate is 56.235 multi, sorry, it's a ask price. So 56.475, 56.475 multiplied by 1.08 divided by 1.11. So straight away we are calculating here. Answer is in rupees 54.948 per Canadian dollar. So we got the market rate. We have calculated the expected market rate if we consider, if we adjust inflation in both the countries, right? So rupee per Canadian dollar, the answer is rupees 54.715 is the bid price, and 54.948. So rupee per Canadian dollar is rupees 54.715 is the bid price, and ask price is 54.948. So this is the market rate once we adjust the inflation rate in spot rate or existing exchange rate. Existing exchange rate given in the problem is it is 56.235 oblique 475. 56.235 is the bid price, 56.475 is the ask price. If we adjust the inflation rate, both India and Canada, it is 11%, 8% in India and 11%. Inflation in foreign country 11%. So we adjusted the inflation rate of both the countries with the spot rate or existing or prevailing market rate. So we have got the market rate 54.715 rupees per Canadian dollar is the bid price, and 54.948 rupees per Canadian dollar is the ask price. Now, what the exact bank is offering after 6 months? Bank always offers forward rate with its swap points. So swap point given in the problem, we need to adjust the swap point with the spot rate. So to calculate market rate, we adjust the inflation rate with the spot rate. To calculate the bank rate, we adjust the swap rate with the bank rate given, swap point with the spot rate. So bank rate spot rate given as spot rate, that is rupee per Canadian dollar. Bid price given in the problem is 56.235 and 56.475. While focusing on 6 months swap point, it is 135 oblique 120. That means while reading from left to right, it is in decreasing order. Since it is in decreasing order, we have to deduct it from the spot rate less 6 month swap So 56.100 oblique 56.355 is the 6 months forward rate. So for outright rate or forward rate, I am writing here as FR, forward rate. So 6 months forward rate we have calculated with the help of swap point given by the bank. That was 135 oblique 120. Since it is in decreasing order, we have to deduct the swap point from the spot rate. Spot rate given in the problem is 56.235 rupees per Canadian dollar bid price, and 56.475 rupees per Canadian dollar is the ask price. Now we have both the answer with us. Prevailing market rate after adjusting inflation rate in both the countries, we have 54.715 oblique 54.948. So banker offers 6 month swap point one. Once you adjust the swap point with the spot rate, bank rate of 6 months forward rate from the bank, 6 months forward rate offered by the bank is 56.100 oblique 56.355. Right? So now identify the equilibrium rates. So first part of the question they are asking is whether the market rate and bank rate are at equilibrium or are equal or not. So no, since bank rate is 56.100, market rate is 54.715. Bank market rate and bank rates are not equal, or there is no equilibrium. There is no equilibrium between market rate and bank rate, right? So you have to look after these rates and you have to compare with this rate. Market rate, once you adjust the inflation rate with the spot rate or prevailing market rate, you get the bank rate. Once you adjust the swap point with the spot rate, you get the bank rate. So you have to compare both the rate, and they are asking in the problem whether you have to identify whether there is an equilibrium between bank rate and market rate. No, because rupees per Canadian dollar in the market rate is 54.715 oblique 54.948, and the market rate bank rate is 56.100 oblique 56.355. So there is no equilibrium between bank and market. Now the second part of the question they are asking is make an arbitrage buying and selling of the currency. In detail we will discuss in next classes, because you will get 15 marks question related to arbitrage in your SEM exam, and arbitrage is very important topic when you study multinational business finance, right? Because buying a certain currency in this particular subject, buying a particular currency for lower rate in one market, that is, if you are buying a dollar in Indian foreign exchange market and you are selling the same dollar at the Singapore foreign exchange market at the higher rate, that's what arbitrage suggests. So arbitrage can be defined as buying a certain currency at lower rate in one market and selling the same currency at higher price in another market. That's how arbitrage gain is calculated. Fine. In this problem, now, if we are going to buy, if Mr. If Mr. Roshan wants to buy the Canadian dollar, buy in the sense if he goes to market, he will buy. If he is buying, market will sell at ask price. So marketers selling price is 54.948, right? If he wants to buy and if he goes to bank sells at 56.355. So if he is going to buy, which one is preferable now? Whenever we buy something, we look for lower rate, right? So the market rate we get per Canadian dollar. We get single unit of Canadian dollar in the market at the rate of rupees 54.948. And one more shop is there called bank. There we have to pay rupees 56.355 rupees to buy single unit of Canadian dollar. Which one is preferable now? Since we are the buyers, we look for lower rate when compared to this 56.355 and 54.948. Which one is lower? The market rate is lower. So if Mr. Roshan wants to buy Canadian dollar, market rate or market is suggested or insisted. Right. So if this person intends to buy Canadian dollar, so which shop we suggest? The shop where the Canadian dollar is sold at cheaper rate. So when we compare these two shops, one is bank and another one is market. This shop called market gives Canadian dollar at lower price, 54.948. So we insist Mr. Roshan, we suggest Mr. Roshan, if he is going to buy Canadian dollar, then market is preferable than bank, because market is offering Canadian dollar at lower rate. Vice versa, if Mr. Roshan wants to sell, if Mr. So and so person intends to sell Canadian dollar, now which price is suggestible? If he sells the currency, banker buys at 56.100 rupees. So in this case, Mr. Roshan is selling this Canadian dollar. If he is selling this Canadian dollar to banker, to HSBC bank in our example, bank will give him rupees 56.100 per this Canadian dollar. If he sells the same unit of Canadian dollar in market, in open market, in forex market, he gets 54.715. It is the bid price, market's buying price, right? So in this example, in this illustration, in this particular case, case number 2, if Mr. Roshan intends to sell this Canadian dollar, where should he go? So there are two shops. One is bank HSBC, another one is open foreign exchange market. So in this shop offers him rupees 54.715. If he sells one Canadian dollar, he gets 54.715 rupees in return. If he sells the same Canadian dollar to this shop, that is called bank, HSBC bank, banker will give him rupees 56.100 rupees per this one unit of Canadian dollar. So which one we insist? So if Mr. Roshan wants to sell, which gives him higher rate? Banker. Ultimately, banker gives 56.100, and if he sells to market, he gets only 54.715. So we insist, if the Roshan intends to sell Canadian dollar, bank rate is suggested. It is simple that arbitrage, buying in one place and selling in another place for higher rate. So he bought at market rate, and if he is going to sell, he sells to the banker. That's how we encounter such type of problems. Right? In next class, we will increase the complexity level of similar type of problem, but the complexity level will be increased. Thank you.